You are now listening to the Hot Take
some of
Hot
the stuff that
Box.
AJ Brown said today during his, announced press conference. Absolutely hilarious that this guy goes, "I will talk tomorrow." It's like, okay, hold on. Yeah, I'm gonna, let me sit by my phone with bated breath, waiting for this man to talk into a microphone again before all of you morons out there start saying, "Yeah, you made a big deal out of him not talking." He just wasn't talking because he's a leader and he didn't want to say anything negative. Listen, that's not what leaders do. Okay, leaders go up there even when things are hard and they say, "Hey, listen, man, we're not playing to our standard." They do the whole coach jargon that all of these other guys do, right? I mean, everyone else is talking to the media. Jason Kelsey talked after the last game. He was pissed. You could tell. Guy was basically hyperventilating at his locker room, and he's just like, "Yeah, next question." Like that. You can do that without shitting on the coaching staff, shitting on the players, shitting on anyone. You could just give the nothing answers, and it wouldn't have been a conversation. The problem is that it became a conversation that this guy, game after game after game, wasn't talking to the media. So where everyone's like, "Well, why isn't he doing this? Well, what's the problem?" This is a guy who was throwing temper tantrums on the sideline earlier this season. We've discussed all of it throughout the year, but a few of the things that he said, Ty, is that he did not want to be negative. That was one of the things that he opened. That's one of the reasons why he didn't want to talk. It was not about the play calling of offensive coordinator Brian Johnson.
Bullshit.
He said it was due to wide receiver Devontae Smith's injury, and that he apologized to his teammates because he put them in position to answer questions for him. Okay, so I guess
But
that's why
he got injured because of the play calling.
Yeah, so it's like I guess that's literally why he didn't want to talk. But Brown also addressed his relationship with head coach Nick Sirianni. Brown said that the Eagles players improvised and we went on our own on a play that resulted in an interception at the end of their loss to the Seahawks last month, and credited Sirianni with taking the blame by saying that the team was trying to draw a pass interference penalty. Brown said he appreciates Sirianni's loyalty because he takes up for us when it has nothing to do with him.
I do respect that.
I do too. But Ty, can you explain to me why, with fucking 13 seconds left, these guys went off script and improvised by themselves when all they needed was 15 fucking yards?
The only explanation I have is that they have no faith and no confidence and no actual respect deep down. They're saying what they can.
He probably called the bubble screen, and they were like, "You know what? Fuck this.
Fuck this.
Fuck
We're not
this.
doing another bubble screen.
4 verticals."
I respect it because honestly, I'd rather them come up with the play calling than Brian Johnson. It's just my opinion, or whoever else is coming up with it. Honestly, I think most of what AJ Brown said was honestly good. I think he, I was expecting some Jamar Chase randomly saying, "Hey, there's a fire. We're lighting a fire under the Chiefs DBs," or something random. Where you're like, "Bro, what?" Or like when T.O. would just randomly say nonsense, or AB, or any of the receivers, because you know how receivers are.
I mean, the greatest AJ Brown tweet is like "He who smiles holds the knife" or something like that. It's like
something so stupid.
What the fuck is he talking about?
Yeah, AJ Brown. Listen, he went to Ole Miss. All right, give him a break. But I thought most of what he said honestly was good. Like he got the fans are on his side. And honestly, a lot of what he said, he's like, the media is making this and making that. He's 100% right. The media is awful. I mean, sports media is so bad in the current state of it is just pathetic, and I do think people are trying to make it a little bit about AJ when it's not, but
you got to admit that he kind of made it about himself as well by not talking.
Well, yeah, I mean, by saying I'm not going to talk and then tweeting, "Hey, I'm going to talk tomorrow." Everybody, kind of like LeBron, like the decision, the interview, if you will. But at least what I'll say is I do like what came of the interview. I think there is a little bit more clarity. I think it could rally the guys. It doesn't seem like there's as much, inter squad beef.
Yeah.
I think some of the issues, if there are any locker room issues, which there might not even be, but if there are, I think it all stems from the coordinators, offense and defense. And I don't think these guys want to say that. Like, I don't think anybody's against Sirianni. I don't think he's lost the locker room, but I think his coaching hires and his coaching staff has lost faith with the locker room. So I think, a lot of these guys are trying to be professional, and they're doing a good job, right? Nobody's coming out and trashing these guys. Listen, the LSU, who was it? They just fired all their defensive guys, and Oh, Braden Swinson, one of our best edge rushers. He has a pile of rocks. He tweets a video. And right after the defensive coordinator, Matt House, gets fired, he has a pile of rocks and he kicks them, meaning kick rocks. And then our other best player, Harold Perkins, tweets, "It ain't no fun when the rabbit has the gun." Like, just absolutely throwing shade on the defensive coordinator that just got fired. Meanwhile, in the NFL, these guys are just like, no, Brian Johnson, he's fine. It's us. So I do respect him for that, for not trying to publicly shame the guy, even though we all know what the issues are. So silver lining, I like it. I think he restored some faith within the Eagles community, which is very hard to do. Not necessarily you and I, but other people and all that. So I guess anything that came of it, of that interview, I'll take it. I don't think AJ is the problem. I don't think the locker room is lost, but I do think there are some issues. And I think once this season ends, you're going to hear a lot. The voices might get a little bit louder, and then I think right away, as soon as the season ends, Brian Johnson's gone.
I think he should be. I think a lot of this, the fracture or whatever they talk about, it has a lot to do with this team's lack of faith and belief in the coaching staff. That's where this is all centered around. And I appreciate Nick Sirianni saying that, because I'm glad that A.J. Brown came out and defended him, because that's still something where I was like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, that you're trying to draw a pass interference penalty at the end of the game. I'm just glad. I mean, that's what a good coach would do. Andy used to do it all the time and would just say, it's on me. I got to do a better job. When obviously it wasn't his fault, and his players were morons. And McNabb would throw a pick right to a fucking cornerback, and you're like, dude, what was he looking at? He's like, I got to do a better job. I got to call a better play. You're like, okay, well, that's annoying, but at least we're not thinking about that anymore. Like we're right. Thinking about how we're pissed at the coach, and he just, he's a shield for a lot of the anger. But he said, I mean, at least him coming out and saying all this, it kind of quelled the Nick Sirianni discussion, and had you guys have heard the pod we recorded yesterday, it probably would have been a lot more like, get Sirianni's ass out of here, fire him. We were a lot more pissed yesterday as opposed to when AJ Brown came out and talked. I saw some people online now acting like this is like, oh, we're gonna win the Super Bowl now. I'm like, well, let's fucking relax. It's always the extreme. Let's calm down a little bit. I didn't get that feeling off this, but he did say some more. I have nothing but respect for him, because not all coaches do that. We ride with him. We ride with Brian. We just got to come out and play ball. The coaches have played 0 snaps this year. It's on us. It's right there, yada, yada, yada. So that is kind of the extent of what he said. I really do think, though, Ty, the real reason why he came out and talked was because Marcus Hayes wrote that article about him and said that he was the reason why the locker room was kind of split or fractured. So I think he was coming out and defending himself. Yeah, and I think this is a good way to respond. He kind of, I'm pretty sure he took a shot at him at one point.
Marcus Hayes. Oh yeah. Which was Marcus Hayes?
Yeah, Marcus Hayes. Yeah,
so you said
that guy
he's the
fucking
worst.
Sucks. He's
been the worst
always
for so long.
He's
I
a
remember
troll.
Me and my dad.
Yeah, God.
10 years ago, we're watching Comcast Sportsnet, and he's got that monotone voice and that little dreary look on his face, and he acts like he knows what he's talking about, and he's just a fucking loser. Just a loser. So.
He is. He is like the ultimate contrarian. I don't think he believes half the shit that he says. He always just is trying to go for shock value and shit like that. And when he's on WIP, I instantly turn it off. I don't want to hear him. It's that simple. I respect his work and everything. I just don't agree with any of his opinions ever. So I don't why would I get myself all upset? And I always want to call and argue with him, but I just know he would.
You would probably say some things. That you that they wouldn't allow. But for anybody that's blaming AJ Brown solely or even remotely is lost. It's the coordinators, it's the coaches, and that's. I mean, I saw Jalen or AJ say, people are mad at the screen calls, but if somebody makes a block, it's a 30-yard touchdown, which is probably possibly, or I shouldn't say possibly, it's probably true, but also the reason that those plays aren't working in Week 17, I think, is a testament to the coaches. So,
yeah. Yeah, it seems like now I'm reading an article that's all the articles that the Inquirer has written, the opinion pieces of some of these columnists, and it's just a lot of nonsense. The Mike Sealski saying that Brock Purdy would be loved here more than Jalen Hurts or something like that. Just basically because he's white. It's, the internal concerns about Jalen Hurts, but written by Jeff McLean. There's a lot of just nonsense going on. But that's why people hate the media here, really. Like, there's a lot of hot take artists that go out there and they just, instead of doing like a good, honest work and not being like like somebody I always think of, you're not a Phillies fan, but you probably know who this is, Jim Salisbury. Like, he always just wrote good articles, reported the news, and I always looked to hear his opinions on stuff. Like that, there is a way to do the job without being just a shock jock sort of kind of guy.
You are now listening to the Hot Take Hot Box.